Hey everyone, welcome to Common Agenda. I'm Norman Oliver.
And I'm Ethan Weiser.
And we've got some bad news. This is the final Tuesday edition of Common Agenda for this semester.
I'm afraid it's true, but don't be too sad. We'll be back in action when school starts back up in the fall. But until then, Norman and I will be chilling on my private island, which I purchased using my paycheck from hosting the Common Agenda.
Wait, Ethan, we don't get paid for this.
We don't?
Yeah, we don't.
Just kidding, I totally knew that.
Are you okay?
Just roll the graphic open. Welcome back to the Common Agenda, and boy has it been a great semester. Over the past few weeks, we've learned about life, we've learned about love, and we've even learned a few things about ourselves. With that being said, we still haven't figured out the answer to some of life's most important questions, like what's the meaning of life? Does DH count as actual food? And most importantly, what is the color of that gosh darn dress? I don't know if we'll ever know the answers to those questions, but I do know this. This week's news stories will blow your mind. Finally, the news we've all been waiting for. Girl Scout cookies save lives. Two sisters whose SUV got stranded in a remote part of Michigan were found Friday after 2 weeks of living in their broken-down Ford Explorer. Leslie Roy, 52, and Lee Marie Wright, 56, were safe and sound, thanks to their diet of melted snow, Girl Scout cookies, and cheese puffs. It's an experience that many of us here at Emerson can relate to, as many of us survived a similar manner during the Boston blizzards of 2015. Now go get yourself some Thin Mints and save a life. The end is in sight, and the view's not bad, though not as good as the view from my private island. On Monday, May 18th, Emerson's undergraduate commencement ceremony will begin at 10 a.m., where co-host of ABC's Good Morning America, Robin Roberts, will provide the address. This will be followed by the graduate ceremony at 3 p.m., where Pulitzer Prize-winning author and Emerson professor Megan Marshall will speak. Roberts will receive an honorary degree during the ceremony, along with poet laureate Natasha Trethewey, and arts leader Ann Hawley, and Paralympic medalist and marathon winner Sherry Blowett, MD. Which is totally unfair because none of them had to drop $200,000 on theirs. Last week we told you about the annual Emerson Entrepreneurial Expo, also known as E3 Expo because Emerson abbreviates everything, and now we are back with the results. After 18 students pitched their business startup ideas, this year's first place prize was given to HerLaunch, created by marketing communication major Manisha Talani. HerLaunch is a unique consulting firm providing premier entrepreneurial education and access to business resources exclusively to low-income women entrepreneurs. Great job to everyone involved. Emerson College recently released results from its Student Community Climate Survey. The survey is a result of Emerson's recent efforts to increase awareness and expand education programs about sexual assault. The survey revealed that first-year students had a more positive response to the questions about training, suggesting that these students have already benefited from the new programs Emerson implemented during fall orientation. Or they're just not jaded yet, who knows? This is a good start, but let's not pat ourselves on the back just yet, Emerson. We've still got a long way to go, like a midwinter's walk to the Paramount long way to go, but we'll get there. And the award for the best Emerson event goes to Alpha Epsilon Phi's Ribbons on the Runway fundraiser. On April 19th, the sorority raised more than $6,000 for Shereshet, a nonprofit organization that helps Jewish women with breast cancer. The fashion show was followed by a live auction where Emerson President Lee Pelton took home a girls' night out basket for his family and a cashmere scarf worth $450. What a night. And now to the incredibly talented Javier Rodriguez with After Emerson.
To a brand new episode of After Emerson. I'm your host, Javier Rodriguez, and today we're going to be speaking to Emerson alum Jane Sonier. So tell me, when did you graduate Emerson and what did you major in?
I graduated in the class of 90 and I majored in communication, politics, and law.
Nice. So I see now that you are a professor here. You're doing speech communication, is that right?
Yes.
And so what do you like about that? What do you enjoy? What's your favorite part about teaching?
The students. I love the students. I loved it when I was a student here, and I like still hanging out with the students.
Yeah, the speech is always fun. I did speech class as well. We had a great time. We did fun activities. Are there any fun activities that you do in your class?
I'd like to think so. It's good to get the students up and speaking as much as possible and doing group activities together. They usually enjoy doing that.
Nice. And other than being a professor here at Emerson, do you have any other hobbies outside of being a professor?
Yes, I like to just walk my dog and garden, and I have a website that I maintain about traveling around New England with dogs, like hotels you can stay at and stuff like that. Yeah.
What's the website called?
New England Dog Travel.
Nice. So do you update that like once a week, or how does that work?
During the semester, less so, but I update the Facebook page regularly, and then also events and stuff like that in the summertime when it's really busy for doggy events.
And let me ask you, this is a strange question kind of. What's the weirdest or best speech that a student has ever given that you can remember? It can be strange, it can be weird, it can be the best one.
Oh, that's a really hard question.
It is.
So many.
There has.
I mean, we're talking like 20 years worth of speeches. I think, I can't really think of a particular one, but I think that the creativity and the passion that students put into their work, especially if it's a topic that they care about, those are the ones that are the most noteworthy. There was one, actually, I just thought of, that the student talked about the use of parabens in cosmetics and things like that, and that was probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I still go into CVS and read every label.
Nice. So do you see yourself being here at Emerson for a long time, or do you see yourself branching off doing something else?
Well, I've already been here a long time, but I hope to be here longer, for sure. You know, I could retire from here, but we'll see.
And what keeps you here? What keeps you here at Emerson? Because you are an Emerson alum and now you're teaching here. What has kept you here?
I just love it. I just think it's a great place. The students are great, very creative, very fun, and I really like it.
Yeah, I don't blame you for leaving. I wouldn't either. It's great here. So thank you so much for taking time to speak with us.
You're welcome.
Thanks for watching. Back to you guys.
And now we're joined with Matthew Begbie from the production of Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. So Matthew, could you just tell us a little bit about how you got involved with this project?
Yeah, so the project is actually a directed study for me, and I approached my faculty advisor, Sunil Swaroop, last semester about doing a project because I am a playwright, but I come to Emerson for writing for television and film, and I really wanted to kind of combine those two things because I really love theater and I really love TV and film. So I pitched this project called Mixed Media Adaptation. So I took 3 things that I love. I took a really great book, I took playwriting, and I took film, and I crafted this script, and it developed into something huge.
And when can we expect to see this show?
The show goes up May 1st, so Friday, and it's 2 performances in the Billboardy at 7 p.m. on May 1st and May 3rd.
Great, thank you so much for joining us.
And welcome to the final episode of Common Agenda's Focus on Film. I'm your host, Jessica Schroeder-Bunny, and this week we are focusing on the film Mark's Place, directed by Nick Calais, and now I have the pleasure of sitting down with the producer, Katya Alexander. Thanks for sitting down with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So first, can you give our viewers a little summary of the film?
It's basically about these 2 college student boys. One of them lives in Ohio and the other one lives in Boston. And his best friend is visiting him, and they decide to go out on an adventure, and they mysteriously end up in this bar. Really weird things start happening, and they start realizing that maybe this bar isn't a place to be.
Sounds intriguing. Okay. So what was the inspiration behind the film, and what made you want to get involved as the film's producer?
Brian Thomas came to me with this movie idea. It is based off of a true story, and he talked about how his father and his uncle went to this bar one day, and every single time they tried to leave the bar, the bartender would be like, "Drinks on me," and start giving them more drinks. And by the end of the night, they were so drunk they couldn't leave the bar, and they felt like they were trapped there. So he started writing the script off of that, and then we hired 2 writers to write our final script, Amari Esquivel and Ryan Barnhart. And from the beginning, from the moment I heard the real story, I was super excited about this film.
And so you guys had a great idea from the film, but then you needed the funding for it. So I saw online that you had a Kickstarter account for it. So can you tell me a little bit how that was started?
Well, Sam Rivman, the other producer, and I decided that we wanted to do a Kickstarter for the film. And our goal was $1,000 because a producer that I knew goes, "Oh, you can do this movie for $1,000. You're students, it'll be fine." We were getting really nervous about not making any money, but I started sending it off to everybody in the film industry I knew, and he started sending off to every connection he had. And we made $1,000 in less than 24 hours, and we raised $4,200, which was...
That's really successful, and it seems that social media played a big role.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely did.
So what stage are you in of post-production? When can we expect the film to come out?
Right now, we're trying to get the film out by September, by the time we come back for school in September, especially for festivals, because that's when festivals sort of start up again. Our editors have finally met with the director and I, so they already know what they're supposed to do, and all we need to do is give them the footage and they're going to start editing almost immediately.
And then what would be your dream job in the film industry, and where do you see yourself going after Emerson?
My dream job would obviously be a producer. I love producing. I like the struggle of it and how I get to do all the technical stuff and let the director sort of just only focus on what the shot's going to look like. I kind of want to just stay in film if I can.
Okay, that's a great option. So thank you for sitting down with us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And that's going to do it for the final episode of Focus on Film. I'm your host, Jessica Schroeder-Bunny, signing off.
It's officially the week before finals, and you know what that means. It's time to lock yourself in your room, down your caffeinated beverage of choice, and study your sleep-deprived heart out. After all, you've only got you, and so sometimes you just gotta relax and treat yourself to something that isn't Red Bull. So without further ado, here are some upcoming events to help you do just that. Are you about to graduate and plunge into the scary world of business? Never fear, you don't have to resign yourself to waitressing just yet. This Wednesday from 6 to 9, the Boston Networking Club will be hosting a cocktail party specifically for connecting with fellow professionals. The event is geared towards men and women in their 20s and up who are looking to network and socialize face-to-face in a fun, upscale environment. The event will be held at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, and tickets are $15 online and $20 at the door. Who said you can't party your way to success? Do you like theater, Latino culture, and Emerson? If that's the sort of thing you're into, head over to the Boston School of Modern Languages this weekend to support Emerson professor Christina Marin, who will be directing Entre Mujeres. The show will be at 7:30 on the 9th, 10th, and 11th in Spanish, but with an English scene-by-scene synopsis for those of us not cool enough to be bilingual. Come out, bring a friend, and have muy fun. For those of you who are desperately trying to find a comeback from your technophobic parents, stop by the Cabaret at noon on April 29th to hear a presentation by David Weinerberger about the evolution of knowledge and technology, and then join a discussion about how we see this continued change affecting us in our lifetime. Remember to join us and to prove those stories wrong. Do you like musicals, gambling, and free food? Well, you're in for a treat. The cast and production team of Arrowhead, a student-directed original musical, are hosting a raffle with some pretty great gift cards to places like Rock Bottom, Maggiano's, and Art Bar. All you need is $1 and a dream. They accept both cash and Venmo, and winners will be drawn periodically until their first show on May 7th. Don't miss it. Are you a senior who's just realized that the only part of Boston you've really explored are campus buildings and sketchy Alston apartments? Are your parents coming for commencement and expecting you to show them around? Don't panic. This Saturday, May 2nd at 10 a.m., there will be a literary tour of Boston. Meet at the Irish Famine Memorial with $15 to explore the homes and haunts of prominent writers, like Hawthorne, Thoreau, Dickens, Longfellow, Louisa May Alcott, and many more. Your parents will be impressed with the educational outing, and you'll be able to look around for fun-looking bars that you've yet to puke in. If that's a win-win, that's definitely a win-win if I've ever saw one. Well, that's our show, everybody. Tune in tomorrow to catch the triumphant season finale of The Common Agenda.
Also, make sure you keep an eye on the free and for sale page if you're interested in purchasing a moderately priced private island somewhere off the coast of Maine. It comes complete with penguins, a full entire coast of beach made out of sand that's entirely like white sand, and it's really nice and soft. And then palm trees that you can climb because I've installed little wooden pegs on it that you can just climb right up and get to the top and get yourself a coconut.
That sounds like an amazing property. How much are you asking for it?
Like $250,000 for best offer.
That seems pretty steep, don't you think? Especially since it gets cold in Maine.
Well, it gets cold in Maine, but sometimes it's nice to spend time on a private island when you're cold because then you can bring all the blankets you want to the private island.
You can't just do that at your home?
No.
You sure?
I'm 100% positive. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to our final episode of The Common Agenda.
And have a great summer, everybody.